2 games, 1 triple-double, 2 historical records, 1 growing competition, and millions of eyes are watching. The 2025 WNBA season isn't just starting, it's already booming. In the middle of the chaos, Caitlin Clark. In her sophomore year, the Indiana Fever guard has continued where she left off, shattering records, leading the league in productivity, and now garnering national attention for more than just her stats. Clark's presence has sent the WNBA into overdrive, with rivalries with Angel Reese, game-winning highlights, and post-game controversy. Here's what happened in a week that might shape the remainder of the season, from record-breaking nights to viewership history and controversy. The Indiana Fever's great point guard made some history in the first half of her game versus the Atlanta Dream. Caitlin Clark of the Indiana Fever set an eye-opening WNBA record in a game against the Atlanta Dream. The superstar guard is off to a great start in her 2025 campaign. Clark recorded a triple-double in her season opener against the Chicago Sky and hopes to maintain that form in the second game. This year marks a watershed moment for the Fever organization, following an aggressive offseason in which the front staff surrounded its 3 all-star players with several excellent role players. Indiana hopes to become a real title contender in 2025, competing with the Las Vegas Aces, New York Liberty, and Minnesota Vikings for the top spot. Caitlin Clark will be under a scrutiny throughout the offseason, and she is off to a good start. Caitlin Clark, 23, has just become the fastest player in WNBA history to reach 350 career assists. The Fever will have to adapt to this season as they develop synergy with their new pieces. Even though this team looked amazing on Sunday, Indiana will most likely not play its best basketball early in the season. The team has added numerous new players, including 2 starters, DeWanna Bonner and Natasha Howard. In addition, major role player Sophie Cunningham has yet to make her season debut, and Sydney Colson and Brianna Turner are still getting used to their new teams. Clark, the point guard, will enhance her ability to get the most out of her teammates as 2025 develops. Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell share continuity with Caitlin from the previous year, and both had excellent 2024 seasons. Boston is just in her 3rd season, but is already one of the league's finest forwards, while Mitchell is coming off her 2nd consecutive All-Star selection. As long as these 3 continue to grow, this club will be a title contender by the end of the season. It won't be easy, as other teams have title-contending hopes, but if the Fever are patient, they should be competing for a semifinal position in the fall. Clark was far from finished making history, but even her brilliance couldn't prevent the Atlanta Dream from winning Game 2. Even though Caitlin Clark had another strong effort, the Fever were defeated by the Dream on Tuesday night. Caitlin Clark, an Indiana Fever star, made history again on Tuesday night. However, Brittney Griner and the Atlanta Dream upset the Fever 91-90. Atlanta won the competitive game, ruining Clark's otherwise excellent showing. The Fever guard scored 27 points and had 11 assists, 5 rebounds, and 2 steals. According to Fever Stats, Clark now has the most games in WNBA history with 25 or more points and 10 or more assists. Clark is also tied with Courtney Vandersloot for the most 20-point and 10-assist games, with 10. However, Vandersloot reached that level in 430 games, whereas Clark just needed 42 games, according to Clutch Points. In other words, Caitlin Clark is a really good basketball player. She has already established herself as one of the league's top players. Clark is also one of the WNBA's most popular players. As previously said, the Dream emerged victors on Tuesday night. Griner led the team with 21 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 block. She is already proving to be an excellent addition to the Dream. Rhyne Howard contributed 20 points, 3 assists, 3 steals, and 2 rebounds in the victory. The Fever had several shot opportunities in the waning seconds of the game, despite trailing by 1 point. However, Indiana was unable to hit on their shot attempts. The home crowd were disappointed as a result. Nonetheless, the Fever have started the season well for the most part. What happens next for Caitlin Clark and the Fever? The Fever will try to get back in the victory column as quickly as possible. They will get their next chance on Thursday in their first road game of the 25 season against the Dream in Atlanta. The Fever will then return home to face the New York Liberty on Saturday. Their next 2 games will undoubtedly be hard. Atlanta has a good lineup, and New York won the 2024 WNBA Finals. It will be fascinating to see if Indiana can recover from Tuesday's loss, given the difficult following schedule. While Clark was putting on a masterclass versus Atlanta, fans and networks were still buzzing after her season debut against Angel Reese, which became the most-watched WNBA game in ESPN history. Caitlin Clark vs. Angel Reese generates league viewership records. The newest installment of the Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese feud set a WNBA viewing record to begin the 2025 season. The WNBA resumed play this weekend with some exciting games. The Chicago Sky took on the Indiana Fever in the main event. It was the newest installment in the two franchises' burgeoning rivalry, owing to Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark's past. These two began their rivalry in college, and it has only grown since they both joined the WNBA. The finest part about a high-profile rivalry? Eyeballs. The WNBA has never received more attention, thanks in large part to the fact that the audience enjoys a good tale, and the rivalry between these two is the league's largest. The Sky Fever game was the most-watched WNBA game ever on any of ESPN's platforms, with an average of 2.7 million viewers and a high of 3.1 million. Not only did the game have the most viewing on ESPN for any individual WNBA game, but the entire weekend had the highest viewership for the WNBA on ESPN, with the Las Vegas Aces New York Liberty game averaging 1.3 million and peaking at 1.9 million. The game was not competitive, with the Fever rolling over the Sky to a 93-58 victory at home. However, the fact that the average viewing remained at 2.7 million demonstrates how much Caitlin Clark, and by extension, her matchup with Reese, have piqued fans' interest across the sports scene. It has already made significant contributions to the sport's growth. These two dislike each other, as seen by tempers boiling on both benches after Clark fouled Reese hard on her way to the basketball in a play that was labeled a flagrant foul. The WNBA should continue to capitalize on this type of attention because it gets people talking, which only helps the sport grow and improve as a whole. This level of attention is difficult to recreate, so the WNBA must take advantage of every opportunity. But all that attention brings something darker. As the viewership grows and the spotlight shines brighter, so do the discussions about hate, race, and representation. And Clark and Reese are both speaking up. Angel Reese of the Chicago Sky speaks out in response to Caitlin Clark's flagrant foul and the WNBA's inquiry into hate-related claims. Last Saturday, Angel Reese became the WNBA's fastest player to reach 450 points and rebounds. However, her sophomore season debut was overshadowed in the wrong way. The first game between the Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever was defined by Caitlin Clark's flagrant foul on Reese. The foul occurred during the third quarter, when Clark fouled Reese from behind while she was attempting a basket. Reese was visibly upset as Clark walked away without looking back. She shrieked, "What the expletive is wrong with you?" The WNBA issued a statement saying it was looking into claims of racial remarks made toward Reese. As the dust settles, Reese and Clark condemn any acts of hatred. Reese spoke up about the situation on Tuesday, according to Marquee Sports Network. "Obviously, there's no place in this league for that," she said. Clark had similar feelings and supported the league probe. "There's no place for that in our game. There's no place for that in society," she said. All of this comes as the WNBA launches a league-wide campaign to eradicate bigotry. The No Space for Hate campaign was launched in reaction to acts of hatred directed at WNBA players. The controversy about Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark's alleged rivalry began in 2023. That year, LSU defeated Iowa in the NCAA championship game. It drew more than 10 million viewers, the most for a women's collegiate basketball championship. Reese's "you can't see me" gesture to Clark was interpreted as a snub. Following that, Reese was subjected to a barrage of vitriol, much of it motivated by racism and sexist prejudice. Since then, Reese has received threats and hate on social media. Both players are referred to be rivals by commentators. Clark and Reese both described the egregious foul as a basketball foul. In other words, rejecting any perceived hatred toward one another. 2 games, 2 records, a viral rivalry. Millions are watching. Real conversations are taking place. Caitlin Clark is dominating the court. However, what happens outside of it may be equally important. As she and Angel Reese set viewership records, they are also negotiating a cultural moment that combines basketball talent with a strong discussion about identity, rivalry, and responsibility. What happens next in the 2025 season is much more than simply trophies and statistics. It is about legacy, and it is currently being written in real time. Do you happen to be watching? Because the entire planet is.